Do you know when and why the Soviet Union was dissolved? It all started with a man named Mikhail Gorbachev, the last General Secretary and President of the Soviet Union. Gorbachev ushered in a period of reform, aiming to transform the Soviet Union's political and economic systems. He sought to end a period of political stalemate and economic backslide that had gripped the nation. However, beneath the surface, the Soviet Union was also dealing with internal stagnation and a growing wave of ethnic separatism. The country, although highly centralized until its final years, was comprised of 15 top-level republics, each serving as a homeland for different ethnicities. This unique composition added to the complexity of the nation's issues. As Gorbachev labored to steer the Soviet Union away from the brink, his reforms unintentionally began to chip away at the unity that held the nation together. Despite the intentions, these reforms began to unravel the fabric of the Soviet Union. By late 1991, the Soviet Union was in the throes of a catastrophic political crisis. The once formidable union was fracturing from within as republics began to assert their independence. Centralized power, a cornerstone of the Soviet system under Gorbachev, was waning, and the republics were asserting their autonomy. In a striking turn of events, the leaders of the Russian, Belarusian, and Ukrainian SSRs made a bold declaration. The Soviet Union, in their eyes, no longer existed. This wasn't just a symbolic gesture, it was a clear indication that the threads holding the Union together were unraveling rapidly. And the unraveling didn't stop there. 8 more republics soon joined in this declaration. Like a domino effect, the republics were falling away from the Union, each asserting their independence and autonomy. The Union was crumbling, its once iron grip loosening. The Soviet Union, once a formidable world power, was now on the brink of dissolution. On December 25, 1991, Mikhail Gorbachev resigned. This marked a significant step towards the end of the Soviet Union. Gorbachev, who had initiated changes in an attempt to reform the Soviet political and economic system, found his efforts thwarted by a period of political stalemate and economic decline. As the country experienced internal stagnation and ethnic separatism, the centralized power that had once held the Union together began to wane. By late 1991, amid a catastrophic political crisis, several republics had already begun to secede. The leaders of 3 of its founding members, the Russian, Belarusian, and Ukrainian SSRs, declared that the Soviet Union no longer existed. 8 more republics joined their declaration shortly thereafter. With Gorbachev's resignation, the remaining Soviet parliament was left with no choice but to take the final step. They cast their votes on December 26, 1991, deciding the fate of the Union. And there it was. On December 26, 1991, the Soviet Union was formally dissolved, marking the end of an era. In a span of a few years, the mighty Soviet Union had dissolved. Gorbachev's reforms, internal crises, and the departure of the republics led to this dissolution. With Gorbachev's resignation, the once formidable Soviet Union ceased to exist. That is the story of the dissolution of the Soviet Union, a series of events that changed the course of history.